Live on Building in Public with Vidy and Michael. Welcome, guys.
Hey.
Hey, what's up?
This is
first of all, where are you two now?
Yeah.
Am I the only one left in Hawaii?
So yeah, I'm still over in Hawaii, but I'm planning to move back in the next week or so.
Yeah, he's been saying that for like 3 weeks now.
Are you all around the same place, like kind of Oahu?
Yeah, we were over in Oahu in Honolulu. I just have to sell my car before I go back.
Oh my god, he got like the sweetest car somehow. Like
Is that right?
Convertible red.
It's a cute
You
little
just
Miata.
moved briefly, or like kind of a COVID Hawaii resident?
It was just a COVID Hawaii resident thing. I mean, rent was
You bought a
cheap.
car.
Yeah,
That's kind of commitment.
yeah. I mean, it saved money on having to rent a car because renting a car is like $1,000 a month.
hmm
And this way, like I'd make back the money once I sell it because it retained the value pretty well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And when you move back, where's back?
Michael hadn't moved to Hawaii, I feel like so many people wouldn't have moved to Hawaii. I feel like the trickle started with Michael, and then like all of these 12 people ended up in Hawaii. Now my parents are like, when are you moving back? Like they're getting kind of concerned.
Yeah, no, I think because of Michael, my dad applied to a job in Hawaii, and now they're moving.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I think they
Hawaii.
kind of catalyzed something.
Wow.
Like, yeah, we had like eight people from SF come over and stay in Hawaii and worked out of the same co-working space as us for like a month or two.
Are you engaging with the mayor of Honolulu?
We could.
Michael's the Delhi of Hawaii, of Honolulu.
Yeah. I could become the mayor, but yeah, we've been connecting a lot with the tech people out here, especially with the co-working space people, because they mainly run all or they're interacting with all the transient people that are coming from SF, from Miami, from New York, that are working in tech here. So the network it's not SF or Miami or New York by any means, but it is viable enough to meet a few cool other people.
Right. And there's enough like transplants who are coming to Hawaii kind of with similar context. They're open to meeting people and connecting with new people.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And so, so I think, did I hear something, Vidy, were you in New York recently, or were you like tweeting about people in New York, or?
Oh yeah, I'm in Connecticut right now, so I'm like.
You're in Connecticut.
Yeah, but I'm always like every weekend I just find a reason to go to New York.
Oh wow! And what's your future? Are you going to be Connecticut?
Oh no, definitely no Connecticut. It's just I'm just spending time with the family, but I'm gonna move to New York once Michael gets there.
Oh, cool. Okay, so you guys will reconverge New York. Unfortunately, your parents are now going to be away.
Yeah.
That's nice. Cool. Where you first met? Wait, can we hear the origin story of how you guys first met and
What's this all about?
For tinkering together?
Who wants to go, Michael or me?
I mean, do you want to tell like the?
No, not that part.
There's a funny backstory to it. I mean, we met.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, we met we basically just met at NYU on the first day of classes.
Wow.
And yeah, and then I think we started seeing each other on campus a lot more because we were both interested in like the entrepreneurial stuff, and so they had a lot of like startup events or entrepreneurship events going on, and I think that's how we were connecting more because we were both in different majors. But started seeing each other at all the events. There was like hackathons going on.
Right.
Yeah, we did a Spotify hackathon together, and we didn't build anything. But
what did you work on for that?
We were trying to make like a. Have you guys tried Clarify API? It's like this computer vision thing, so you can take a picture and it'll generate tags in the picture. We were building an app where you can like take a picture and it would just like generate rap lyrics. For like a rap song.
That is awesome.
Oh my god, I love that.
Wow.
Clarify.ai, is that it?
Yeah, Clarify.ai.
Wow. Yeah, because you both have worked on so many random like fun side projects that I also like. I think it's so awesome, like just the curiosity and energy that you put into exploring all these different threads, and was also curious about like how like when was the moment that you were like, okay, let's actually work on what became Bounce? And I know there's also an interesting story behind like really streamlining what Bounce is doing. So tell us a little bit about that.
You like how we started working together, or like what led to Bounce?
Basically, like why Bounce, and then the iteration. Like once you started Bounce, there were a couple like pivots that you guys were working on, right?
Yeah.
Focus of the app.
Oh yeah. So I think this was back in October or like end of September. We were still working on a previous app, which is a podcast app. And then I just like had this idea this one night. So like I've always wanted to build my own version of GarageBand. Like I've tried to make music in the past, like totally failed. Like I tried to use a Logic Pro, had like a whole studio set up with like to make music, but never really like made anything that my friends wanted to listen to. I think I forced Mishti to listen to a few of my songs back in Hawaii.
They're good.
But like, yeah, so I always wanted to build my own version of like a music like doc. It was always in the back of my head, but October, like I had this idea where I just like couldn't stop thinking about it. I was like, oh my God, like I really want to build this. And like after like I'm either going to do it as a side project on my own while I work on the podcast app, or I'm just going to find a way to convince Michael to like start working on this. And then we just went back and forth for 3 weeks, and then yeah, just decided to build Bounce. But the original idea was that like if you like when you go to like a park in the summer, like when you go to Washington Square Park, you see a bunch of people just playing music live, and a bunch of people just gather around. And sometimes other musicians come in and join in and just start like playing together. And I was like, hey, you know what? Like you can actually create that right now because you have like all these APIs. You can like set up voice, like audio rooms. You can and you can like plug in. You can set up like sockets and like make sounds play synchronously. So yeah, that was the whole idea in the beginning. But yeah, it changed a lot in the last like few months.
And you know, when I think about your example of Washington Square Park or being over at NYU, I recall having seen this program at NYU called ITP. Is that something you guys are involved with at all? Or?
Yeah, so that was actually the sister major to my majors, which was IDM, and ITP was the equivalent of IDM, but at Tisch, whereas IDM was over at Tamden, the engineering school, and IDM was Center for Integrated Digital Media. I think ITP was like intercommunications something.
Okay.
Yeah.
But for people who don't know or haven't seen this, I would describe it as kind of like digital meets art meets kind of creativity. So it's not like a pure computer science thing, and it's not like a pure art thing, but it's really like the intersection of those. Yeah. And so some projects, like I think Dennis Crowley maybe originally came out of that with, I don't know if Dodgeball or Foursquare or maybe both. But I think those kind of came out of that program. And then I think we played with a tool, these like 3D spaces where you can walk around and see like the final projects in 3D spaces, I think was a thing that I saw out of ITP. So it seems like there's like a lot of good energy around that. I wonder, is that a network that you stay close to when you work on these new, because you seem to work a lot at the intersection of kind of digital media, computer science, and creativity.
Not really. I mean, I have like one friend there. That's it. I'm not like super plugged in.
Yeah. What are those? Like, where are those kind of people who are also working at the intersection of these things that you guys have been jamming with on ideas, or even like talking to about using Bounce? I know TikTok is a really interesting ecosystem that Michael has been working with a lot.
Yeah. I think from that major, we haven't spoken with a lot of people. Like back from.
But even outside, I mean, like other people who are in the startup space, or like other creatives that you are kind of talking to and are informing what you're up to.
Can I have you repeat the original question?
Yeah, I think we're just sort of thinking about the communities of creators. Yeah. You know, whenever somebody's working on new creative projects, there's oftentimes communities of people around who would either be like thought partners, you know, or maybe early users of the creative format, or maybe excited consumers of the creative format. So just kind of like who are the people around you and around kind of what you're making in the world?
Yeah, we have a lot of musician friends. Like we have a lot of producer friends. I know one of the things we did early on was we brought this like machine drum pad where you can like it's kind of like a MIDI thingy, and we just hosted a bunch of our friends to come in and like make music with us, and just like grill them with questions. So we did that. We also like I think Michael's doing a lot of outreach. He's hitting up a lot of TikTok like mashup artists. Like just asking them questions. There's just like one guy who had like who has like 300K followers or something on TikTok. All he does is mashup songs, and we're trying to get him to be our intern because he's 18. So yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah. And what are so actually let's talk a little bit about sort of what the current version of Bounce is all about and sort of how it works, because I think just to set some context for some of our kind of additional kind of questions, you want to give us the quick kind of either the overview, or actually I don't know if this is a good time to screen share. If you have any of the anything interesting to look at, we could do that.
Yeah. Let me share something that I recently shared on Twitter. Oh yeah, I don't know if I can share my screen because I need to. I think I need to like leave and come back again. Let me do that.
Oh, is there something? Is there something you have on?
Yeah, it's like a permissions thing in my settings. Okay. Yeah, let me do that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no worries. Michael, can we get some TikTok stories in the meantime? Like, what's it been like? First of all, like, how have you even approached kind of like being, when you first kind of started reaching out to people and being new to TikTok, how did you approach finding who you should be talking to, and like, how do you reach out to them? What's that ecosystem like?
Yeah, so TikTok is actually one of the more interesting cases for outreach, because they don't allow DMs unless you're friends with the person, whereas like Instagram does. And so I think they might have just opened it up where you can like send 3 messages now, but that wasn't the case like a few months ago when I was doing this. But so I would mainly find different hashtags or different creators, and there would be an option to find other creators under that, just get an arrow button. And then what I would do is just like go to their Instagrams or just like spam them with comments to really try to get their attention. That was like my approach to doing a lot of outreach, and its success rate has been like 60-70%. But what I found was like there's also Discord communities that you could find these creators in, and that's like a more direct way to approach them and like be able to message them.
These people who are already they're already kind of like audio creators, or already using DAWs, or are they people who you think would benefit from this kind of tool to compound other creative work?
Most of them are all using DAWs or DJ controllers. I think it's something for them to explore, to really like get a feel like, this is like a lot easier than having to go through all these hoops that you already go through with your DAW or your DJ controller. So I think it would complement them. We just have to get it out to them and have them try it out.
Right. I saw some stuff flying by on screen share. Did you have something?
Do you want me to? Okay, how do you want me to do it? So should I give a little bit? Like, should I like talk about Bounce and like the vision stuff, or should I just go into the product?
Let's talk about the vision, and then we can navigate into the screen share whenever it makes sense.
All right, awesome, sounds good. Okay, this is like a little bit like a new pitch that I'm testing, so I'm gonna
please. We can try it out. We can refine it. No sweat at all. We're just hanging out in the coffee shop.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So the whole thesis for Bounce is that like if you look at how the internet is evolving right now, like the internet is dominated by visual elements. So mostly it's images, text, and video. But one of the new mediums that's clearly emerging in the next like few years is going to be audio. Like audio is going to be like a core part of how we experience the internet. And some might even say that it's kind of like the stepping stone for the metaverse. If you guys think that's the ultimate future of how we interact on the internet. But like if you guys believe that like audio is going to be like a central part of like the internet experience, then clearly like music is going to be a big part of it, because music is something that we can all relate to. Like one of the most like viral videos on the internet is Despacito, which is a song. It's not even in English, but like I say Despacito, like everybody knows what I'm talking about, and you can sing it, you can hum along, and stuff like that. So like music is kind of like a big part of culture, and if audio is going to be core to the internet, then music is going to be a really important part of the internet. But the big problem right now is music is not, like, music creation isn't accessible to most people. Like if you look at other ways of creating content on the internet, if you look at tweeting, if you look at making videos on TikTok or sharing photos on Instagram, anybody can go in, share a photo, make a video, or like tweet. But when you're making music, there's just like so much friction. You have to like actually put in the effort, learn how to use a DAW, train yourself to make music, and it's just a lot of work, which kind of makes it not accessible, even though it's something we all relate to and kind of enjoy. So our mission is like, we just want to make music creation as simple as taking a photo. Like that's the main thing. And if we can do that, then the implications of it is that like music is going to move away from just being an art form to like a medium of communication that everybody uses to express themselves. So that's kind of the mission. And in terms of like the product, we just shipped like a beta, like a new version of a beta like a few days ago. And one of the features that I made a demo of, let me share that. Okay. Can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
Yeah.
So we see final1.mov.
Yeah. Let me play this.
Yeah. Nice. So
That's so cool.
So is that somebody laid down that core track and then used this to kind of modify that, or were they using it to create the core track and then using this to modify it, or how did that come to be?
Yeah, it's a sound that somebody uploaded from like their videos or like photos folder, and then they just applied effects on top of it. So it's kind of like, the analogy is like, you can, like when you're uploading a photo on Instagram, you take a picture, upload it, and then you just add filters to it. It's the same thing.
And people are so mostly uploading, so not creating the original sound, but actually uploading and then modifying and customizing the sound to how they want.
Exactly.
That's cool.
And if you think of like what a song is, at the end of the day, it's just like a collage of like different sounds coming together.
Yeah.
So on Bounce, like you can record something or you can upload something. Or we also have like a huge library of different sounds that you can use, and you just like put them all together. And then you just like play them and like add effects and just make something.
And so when people upload a sound, are they storing it to like a personal library, or does it contribute to a community on Bounce, or how does that work today?
Yeah. So you can like either make it public or private, but if it's public, then every sound that you upload actually goes to this like central repository of sounds that anybody can access. So it's just a growing library of new sounds.
Mm-hmm. And so then if there's a growing library, I guess, is there some sort of discovery mechanism? Is it more search based, or how do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, right now we just have like a bunch of tags and search, and we're gonna like do more stuff with it eventually. Yeah. It's just like a simple search library thingy.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's been interesting about where people are finding the sounds that they end up uploading, and like what kinds of things? I know like you have talked a little bit about remix culture and like your inspirations from different creative fields and like creative industries where this is a big thing, bringing it to music. So what have you started noticing in terms of what people end up using here? And yeah, just talk about sort of your inspirations or learnings from like reading so much about remix culture on the web.
Yeah. Remix culture. I mean, okay, so one of the, like, we kind of want to like solve a problem rather than just building something and like hoping people use it for different things. And one of the problems we're trying to solve right now is like if you want to make a mashup song for your TikTok video, it's like really hard. You have to use Ableton and like a lot of these DAWs, and a lot of people want to make mashups for their video. Like they keep like requesting these like TikTok DJs to like hey, can you make like this mashup? Can you make this mashup? And because they can't do it themselves, so we want to help them put together a mashup song really quickly. And so a lot of the uploads that are coming right now are just vocals of different popular songs, instrumentals, or just TikTok videos themselves that people download and upload on the app. But I don't know, like in terms of like remix culture, I don't know, like where do I even start? There's so much.
I liked your I don't know if it's new, but you had I think bounce.town/y, if I recall. Is that that felt like, I mean, you know, we've talked about product ideas over the years, and that, you know, as kind of like a manifesto or treatise on what you're excited about felt really like fresh and new and well articulated. So I wonder, is that, you know, how did you come to write that, and sort of what was your process in creating that?
I think like we wanted to put together a manifesto, like just to tell people like, hey, this is what we're building. We're super serious about it. Like, we care about this problem. And I think we just like went through a bunch of different iterations. Like the original essay that I think I hit up Mishti. I was like, hey, can I get some feedback on this? But I remember I never sent her the draft. But the original essay like had. Oh, do you want the link? Or do you have the link?
Oh yeah, I was just, if Michael can just use the edit on the message, you can just add. Oh yeah, I guess. Perfect.
Just popped it in, yeah.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, the manifesto is basically like, I guess, like a translation from our deck to like writing. It also had like a lot of like our early like stories, like struggling with how like using DAWs and stuff. But yeah, we ended up like cutting a lot of it and made it like super simple. I think one of the structure for the manifesto was around like a tweet thread. So like, hey, each paragraph should be like its own tweet. So you know, so people can read it quickly, skim over it and whatnot.
Yeah, I like how, I guess, so did you first write the deck and then you turned it into this document?
So it started as a document and then it became a deck and then I turned it into a document.
I like that, because I think it, given the structure of it, it has these like kind of core ideas in the bolded text, which really says like, here's a new idea I'm going to introduce you to, and now here's another one I want you to come along for. And I think that makes it like kind of easier to read. It sort of provides like kind of roadmap or breadcrumbs through the thing. It feels like that's like a nice pattern. I don't know if people mostly will start with documents like this and then turn them into decks or tweet storms, or, you know, one way or the other, but it does seem like a nice format that I haven't seen explored enough, I'd say.
Yeah, that's really awesome.
I don't like writing at all, but just forever. Just like, I was like,
Do you have people that you collaborate with when writing something like that?
Well, obviously Michael, but I also hit up a bunch of my friends who helped me out with like feedback.
Michael, I actually want to. Sorry, switching gears a little bit. We started touching upon like, Michael, how you're reaching out to these TikTok creators and like using Discord communities and stuff. I'm actually really curious to learn more about that, because I think that's like kind of like underground internet creator ecosystem that people don't really know about. And like, how are these people talking to each other? How do they figure out collabs between each other? And like, where have you been fitting into that process? Sort of like, what's your day to day as you think about like who you're talking to and maintaining those relationships?
Yeah. So, most of these creators all have like one common interest, and it's just to grow. And so that's why they're trying to find, you know, other communities that they can join. and then communicate and do collaborations with each other. And so one of the Discords that I had found where a lot of these TikTok creators were on was actually like this sound leaderboard website that someone had created, and he also made a Discord for it. And so they were all like joining those Discords to kind of like talk with each other and like just go over like what the stats are, and talk with the creator of the website. But through that website, I was finding a lot of the big names, and I was just messaging them directly.
The one I shared, is that the one we're talking about?
I don't know. I think it was called Talkboard.
Yeah.
Talkboard. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I think a lot of these creators are, they're very busy in the sense that people are hitting them up every day about different things, just like as any influencer. So there's a lot of noise. So a lot of what I've been trying to do is like figure out how do I penetrate through that noise, like because you're trying to offer something of value to them for their time, because they know they have some worth because of their distribution. So relationship wise, it's been like just trying to become friends in a way, and trying to show how like they can leverage you and how you can leverage them in like an equal relationship. Because most of the times people are just hitting them up for random things. So that's how I've been approaching it. Other communities have been I think that's the main one I've been looking at.
I wonder, when I hear that, it kind of reminds me of a lot of patterns I've seen before. So I wonder if I could just throw in an idea and see if this is interesting. Is when you have a community where there's a kind of a power law of dominant large scale creators, taking step one is addressing them is always going to be challenging, because you're going to bump into everybody wants their attention and you're just another person spamming their comments. And so I think one of the patterns that I think works well is to find the ways where you can uniquely serve people who don't have audience yet, but serve them in a way that your work with them may help them build audience. Right. And so can you find the people on TikTok who are complaining they want to do this? They maybe don't have an audience yet, but they really want to do these mashups. And can you actually just like do it for them with the tool and show them, make the first one or two for them. And then when they say, like, how did you do that? That was really cool. You'd be like, oh, actually, you can do that too. Here, let me show you. And then get kind of, it's a very like grassroots approach. But I think the type of person who wants this, who hasn't yet hit the success, will probably get a ton of value out of it, and they probably don't get hit up by a lot of people. And so you can actually like prove the product value without a lot of like noise. You don't have to be noisy. You don't have to create a lot of noise. You can really focus on making sure that it connects value. And then some of those people probably, if the tool helps them, kind of gain some audience or notoriety, it will just become visible to everybody that, part of that story is you, and they might even shout you out, or, there's all kinds of ways that you could benefit by helping them sort of build their audience instead of go to the power law people, who are already successful. So, I mean, I think over time, probably a mix of each will help, but just a starting point. So have you sort of approached the community that way at all?
Yeah. No, I love that. I love that strategy on doing that. I've done it a little bit where I was replying to a lot of the comments that people were leaving on the big names, where like they were requesting the songs, and so I'd be like, oh, we could do this on our app. I didn't necessarily go as far as to make some of the requests that they had, because some of the songs are a little bit more like, it took a little bit of time of creativity to actually create them.
Yeah, so it's also like ready yet to get it, like our tool isn't even ready yet, right? Like we still have a lot to build. So
yeah. So I mean that strategy has worked for us in the past with our previous app for the podcast app, because that I was reaching out to a lot of the smaller end creators and like doing the work for them and like making the content for them and putting it on our app, and then that snowballed into them realizing like, oh, there's people actually seeing this stuff and like interacting with it, and then they came back on to our app and used it.
Right. Yeah, because it seems like there's, I don't know exactly how all of the sound library works, but just from my own observations of TikTok, there's definitely like a power law of songs that are interesting on TikTok. Right, there's just the ones that become, they get caught in the updraft of meme culture, and then they're like the handful of things that people want to do dances to. And I feel like if you have some of that content in a library that you can showcase ways that those get mashed up, and maybe even that can create like updraft for a new meme to emerge around a mashup that you create, like some of the, if you can sort of create a hybrid dance that works for like transitions one meme to another, my guess is people would kind of get the joke and then would become more curious about how that kind of thing got created and want to do it themselves. Maybe they want to make their own mashup with two other meme songs that are popular. So that's all to say, like, how do you think about getting some of, like, instead of approaching maybe the creators themselves, actually figure out the content that would be most relevant to kind of everybody on TikTok? Is that something that you've sort of pursued, or do you think there's a way to get that content into the library to help sort of bootstrap that activity?
Yeah, so I think that's where the actual the talk board chart really helps out with, because that chart tracks what songs are trending, what songs are starting to lose trend, and which ones are gaining trends. And so from there we can actually just scrape the songs that are on there and start posting them into our library. And so we'll be following, so our library would start following trends that are happening, so people can have quick access to things that they're already hearing. And I think that's like the way that we're approaching it right now.
Yeah. There's also one other thing we're doing, which could be interesting. So there are two ways of getting these people on. Like, one is like they reach out to us or we reach out to them. And one of the ways we're getting them to reach out to us is like Michael's making these videos where he compares like how to add like reverb using Ableton versus like how to add reverb on Bounce. And like that's 5 steps. This is like half a step. Making those comparison videos is also like super helpful. Like they're like, oh wow, I can do that, so I can try it out. So like that's
I like that. What's the link? We should share the link to the TikTok where you're doing that. One of the things also that I think is, I'd call it like more newly emergent in TikTok culture, from my observation, is this more like almost like instructional piece where like I bumped into a guy who was doing like Excel instructional stuff, which it's not meme culture. It's not really like entertainment oriented, but it's more like educational oriented. But it works, like, because it's compact and it has just the right kind of like the title works, and then the title goes away and you see the other stuff. So I almost wonder if like this idea, I think this idea actually has a lot of legs, where you could
play the TikTok.
Oh, here it is. Okay.
No, please don't.
You don't want to play it?
I'm sure it's amazing.
I don't like seeing my voice in my face.
Do it. I'm already playing it.
Oh no.
Whoa.
Add reverb to a sound like this. Go down here, scroll down for reverb, drag it onto your clip. Or you can do it in like 5 seconds in this app that I made like this.
That's amazing.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I love that.
I mean, on Ableton, you have to buy and download a $700 software before you can actually do it. And then you have to find it in like the library of effects, which is quite cumbersome, and then apply it and then tune it how you want it. But on our app, it's just like button and you slide the reverb and you're good.
Yeah. Right. I mean, it captures it so simply and like so obviously. I think those are great. Like overlaying kind of what is the product doing into your TikTok, like the TikToks that you're making, explaining the product capabilities and stuff is really neat.
Yeah.
Have you thought about trying to fit your stuff into the meme culture that's emerging, and how is that stuff you've experimented with, or?
Yeah, I think one of the things that we did was there was a trend for "Talking to the Moon" by Bruno Mars, where people were creating a transition when he would like sing like Moon, And there were a lot of remixes that were coming out of that, where people were just like, chopping it up at the end, or like remixing it into another song that had like an echo that also had said Moon. I think I remixed one on our app, and the decision was pretty good. Let me see, how did it do? I mean, it wasn't the most amazing remix, but it sounded good. It was clean. Yeah. So
that's awesome.
I wonder ideas they can just easily get them done within it.
Right. I'm curious sort of about the ecosystem of apps around TikTok as a hub. Do you sort of look at Bounce as like kind of an accompaniment to TikTok primarily, or would it work well with something like Instagram or other places people might be creating in a similar kind of format? And then do you imagine that like you sort of want to prove it out there, and do you become sort of a separate type of content publishing network, or does it sort of live across networks, or how do you think about sort of its place in the world, at bigger scale?
Yeah. I think we definitely want it to be a standalone, like its own content network, right? Like it's just like copying the playbook of Instagram or TikTok, where like you build a tool, like you come for the tool and stay for the network. And I think in terms of like which medium something like this would do well, like TikTok would be the best one, because like there's immediate utility. So like you upload a song, people use it for their mashup videos. But if you look at Instagram or Twitter or like any other social networks, like it's just you make a song and you put it out there just to show to people that you made a song. So I think it would really work well on TikTok. And I think that's kind of the inflection point. Like a lot of people have tried to build DAWs in the past, but the reason why they haven't really taken off is because TikTok wasn't like the distribution channel back then. Like if I make a song and I put it on Instagram, like most of my friends don't really care. But if I make a song that's really funny and like I put it on TikTok and it gets used by a bunch of people in their videos and it goes viral, then it really means something. So yeah, I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah. Well, I wonder too, like there's the idea that it could be an accompaniment to an app and it could grow off of that and become its own kind of publishing network. Or I could imagine it could be, maybe doesn't have to be publishing as identities, but could be kind of like a content network of all the sound, recorded sound and kind of published sound. And I could also imagine, you mentioned like the $700 DAW, like can you make the $7 DAW, and can you actually just like reduce the cost and by 100x, but still have kind of a direct monetization model? So is that kind of interesting, or stuff you've sort of toyed with, or how do you think about that?
Ooh, I think one of the interesting monetization models that we're super excited about is a lot of producers sell their beats on like these different websites. So like something called BeatStars. That's where Lil Nas X like bought beats to Old Town Road, and then added vocals, and like it blew up, right? We're really like toying around with this idea where like, because we have remixing built into the app, so anybody can take a track, remix it, and add stuff on top of it.
Right.
Remixing could also have a step where you have to pay to remix a song. So like somebody can upload their beats, and then if you want to add vocals to it, you can just pay the creator, and then you can take that and add your own stuff to it, make it your own thing. So it kind of like create this like internal like creator economy / marketplace where people are buying and selling beats, and it would be linked to because it's already linked to discovery and like a network within itself. It's easy to find these beats. It would just like supercharge, I don't know, like the marketplace or whatever. And it would also like create like a source of income for a lot of the tail end creators who don't necessarily have who aren't signed with a record label. So that's super exciting. That's something we're really interested in. Yeah. So
it sounds like you said some of this happens today, like the Nas example. Is that from more like the Ableton world, and that's kind of more the professional tools creator?
Yeah.
And so is the analogy here, would you start with some fathead content and kind of go for some power creators, or do you think you can stitch together kind of the long tail from scratch, or how do you think the dynamics of that marketplace would work?
I think we have to start with mashups, and then I don't know how we're going to transition from that to like getting a lot of the creators to upload beats. But I also think that I think, I don't know, like there's some like weird transition that has to happen at some point. I haven't really thought about it.
Yeah.
But just to understand better, how does it, like, what's the super manual way that works now? Like, if you're a really big TikTok creator, you don't have time to make your own mashups. Are you like hiring a DJ that you find somewhere to make things for you, or like what is the kind of marketplace right now for like new influencers on TikTok?
I think
yeah.
I think most influencers just ride off what's trending, and so people like Charlie D'Amelio they might catch a wave of like a trending song, or like maybe one song has like 100-something thousand videos that have been made to it. She'll jump onto it and make a dance or copy a dance, and that'll get super boosted, and then that song or that sound actually will have more distribution, and then get maybe like 1 million plus videos made to it. I haven't seen any influencers like pay someone else to make a remix for them, but I have seen or have heard of that record labels are actually starting to approach some of these DJs and TikTok remix creators to remix like one of their artists' songs that are like a new single.
Oh, cool!
As like a marketing strategy to get it out there.
Yeah.
So, right. Do you know how did the economics flow back today? Because I assume that if something is big on TikTok, that's like a way to discover a song, but maybe then is it meant to drive more streams on Spotify where the actual economics get shared out, or do you know much about the economics of how that might work today?
I think most of the time it's just to drive people to listen to it on another platform like Spotify. Yeah, because like it's just they put the hook in just to get people excited. Introduced to the song, and then they'll go listen to like the full thing on Spotify.
Yeah, I've heard. I have a friend who's like an amateur music producer, and he's pointed out that he thinks that the nature of TikTok has really shaped the nature of discovery and then production. So it used to be, I guess, that if you look 20 years ago, a song would start very kind of slow and sort of introduce itself, and then it would get to kind of the crescendo, the exciting parts somewhere in the middle. And he said that now almost like it's really shaped music production where like you drop a really interesting hook in the first 10 seconds and then you can kind of explore from there. And so the nature of kind of the discovery piece, and I think Spotify has some aspects of this, but I think TikTok itself is also certainly like the beginning should be discoverable and recognizable and exciting, and then you can kind of tell stories and kind of navigate to other places within that. It's interesting how the platforms have such kind of such a shaping nature to the content that there's sort of like an interplay between the platforms and the content and how they shape each other.
Medium is a message.
We were just talking
about that yesterday.
We're sharing links.
Wow. So what's like top of mind for you guys right now? What have you been talking about like this week, for example, as things that are most interesting or like next problems to figure out?
Yeah, our biggest problem right now is we're trying to get beat matching and pitch matching to work. So if you want to mash up two songs, you want to be able to like press a button and you just like match the BPMs of it and the pitches of it. It's just a grind because there's just like this library that's written in C++ that I need to like convert everything to like Swift. It's just like
from a like research kind of problem solving, is it relatively solved problem that you just need now embodied in the right language, or?
It's a solved problem. It's just a library thing because a lot of the DJ controllers already like have this feature. Ableton has this feature. We just have to bring it to our app and make it like really simple.
Yeah. Has anybody else kind of tried this kind of stuff on the web, or is there something around how? Because it seems like the mobile environment is such a easy, convenient way to do this. But I wonder, are there already sort of some simplification tools, or maybe they're just like hobby websites, but where people are taking like maybe the C++ implementation and just like exposing that through a nice UI? Are there examples where people can play with stuff like that?
Yeah, I think Michael was showing me a few Chrome plugins, right? I don't know if you want to talk about that.
I don't remember what it was called. Yeah, it was like, was it the screen recording one? Yeah, so there was this Chrome plugin that a lot of producers were using actually to screen record or not screen record, but record the audio from like a YouTube link, and they could they can just record a specific part that they wanted to sample, and then that would download the sample, and then they can put it into the DAW, or they can actually directly sample it into their DAW with the plugin. And so this was alleviating a lot of the problems people were having with like having to convert the whole video from YouTube, find like a sketchy conversion site, download it, and then put that into your DAW, and then chop it up from there. So now they were able to just like get the exact part they wanted, and without having to find a website to convert it with.
Yeah, it's crazy how like just sampling is such a big problem. Like finding the right sounds is like a huge problem.
Yeah, and YouTube becomes like the library for a lot of these people, just because it's just so accessible.
Right, but it sounds like similar to some of our our motivations in building Highlighter, the actual like clipping or cutting or kind of highlighting of the thing that you actually want to extract is challenging in the current environment, right? Like a YouTube video could be like an hour long or more. And if you really just want like a 30-second sample or a 15-second sample, it seems like it's a big problem. It's almost like, media is created and it's very long and large, but then I think we all have this desire to like chop it up and make it more small so we can interact and share it in different ways. I know we're just about 10 minutes before the end of the hour, but there's a topic we haven't gotten to that I wanted to address. I think you guys, were you guys part of the On Deck Fellowship?
No.
You weren't? Oh, I thought you were tagging. Were you tagging some On Deck people?
No.
Oh, maybe I saw some On Deck people chiming in when you shared this stuff. Okay, you've got some fans in On Deck then.
I feel like they have their own On Deck, which is another interesting question actually. Like, what other founders have you learned things from, or even like investors or advisors? What has been the most helpful, either just by watching people work or like explicit advice that you've gotten while building this?
I mean, so much. There's so much we're learning. It's crazy. I look at myself 6 months ago and I'm like, what a dumbass.
That's great. Everybody should.
I feel like you should always feel like that. Yeah.
You don't feel like that. You're doing something wrong.
I mean, DK's been super helpful. I think he was like the first 5 people, fifth person or something on the app. Super helpful in terms of like jamming on product stuff. I think one of the things that I learned from you was just you have to be like super prescriptive and like tell people this is the way to use something, especially if it's like a consumer app or something new. And we've been really thinking about that. Like every time we're just like, okay, like what is like the one thing that people want should be doing on this app? That's a big one.
Cool. Yeah. So focus. And I think one of the things we talked about, I think there's, when you have so many tools available or kind of things, needs that you can see open, it's kind of almost attractive to start trying to serve bits of all of them. Whereas with consumer app, like having kind of a single purpose is, kind of a very clear message, kind of positioning message, I think really helps both explain to other people what it's for, as well as kind of focus and guide your own kind of product development and feature prioritization process. Whether it's like, is this a network? Is this a utility tool that can grow to be a network someday? Is it something? Is it a monetization tool? Like, there's a lot of different flavors that it could take. I know actually another one of our guests, former guests who's joined us before, is Jonathan Geller, and I know that he's also been a thought partner. I wonder, is there anything particular to share about kind of stuff you've learned in spending time with Jonathan? He's also one of my thought partners, and I feel like every time I get a chance to spend an hour on the phone with him, I come away with both inspired and with new ideas.
Yeah, Jonathan's amazing. I think he's just like super supportive. Like every time I speak to him, I'm like hell yeah, pumped up, just like ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's awesome. I think a lot of the stuff I've learned from him is you should just like focus on what you're building. create, like, work on the product, like make sure like it's actually like solving a real need, stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any, like, how do you think about the process of understanding kind of the focus and the messaging? Like, how do you decide when it's like iteration or kind of, some kind of small tweaks to what you currently have versus larger, kind of more radical reinventions? Because I know you've been through a few, let's call them fairly radical reinventions, as have we. So I think it's a very common thing in these early stage startups. But I wonder, how do you think about the process of tweaks versus radical?
Yeah. I think, okay, so one of the biggest changes we did was we initially started out as this like real-time synchronous collaboration tool, and then we switched to like a single player utility, and that was a big shift, right? That was like a completely different product, and one of the reasons for doing that was because I think we were looking at like two different markets. We were just like, okay, there's musicians who are professionals and they would really appreciate like a real-time collaboration tool. They know what they're doing, they know how to play their instruments, and they can come into a room and just start playing music. And then there's just like other market where it's a bunch of amateurs. They don't know what the hell they're doing. They're too insecure to like go out there and like perform or play in real time with somebody. So they would not really appreciate like what like we're building for, like any of the real time stuff, right? They would want something that they do like make music on their own time. So like it was basically, so we decided like, you know what, let's not focus on the professionals, let's focus on the amateurs. So a lot of these like big reinventions are based on who we're going after and what problems they have. So I think it's mostly based on the market or the user. And I think the tweaks are like, once we lock in the user and like the type of problems they have, then it's about like learning more granular things that they care about, and like building for that. I don't know if Michael wants to add anything.
Yeah, I think one of the changes that we made from the original live collaboration platform was we noticed like the output of what people were actually creating they were actually not creating things. It was just turning into like a clubhouse room where people would just start talking with each other, and they weren't actually using the tool to kind of make music or make stuff. And so that's why we're like we don't want to become another clubhouse. Like we should focus really on the output experience and like what people are actually creating and sharing off the platform. Yeah,
makes sense. Yeah, I wonder actually, does the creative unit fit into Clubhouse at all? Like, because it is kind of all audio based. I wonder if as a creative unit, I've seen people make like soundboards for Clubhouse.
Yeah.
Does it have like any place in that ecosystem, do you think?
I think one thing that could work is if you could like live stream the soundboard or like the creation board, then you could actually use it as a soundboard. But that's about it. Like I don't think Clubhouse is building any like API or anything at this point.
Right. Yeah, got it. Yeah. I know we're running toward the end of the hour, but one thing that we like to ask, I know you guys are connected to a lot of startups and always thinking about startup ideas and kind of meeting kind of interesting people. So just wondering, kind of, are there any just outside of what you're building or really anything, but just interesting people? Do you have any kind of favorite new products you've been using or incorporating into your own workflows, or kind of favorite new interesting people you've met who are working on kind of something new that you're excited about?
I mean, I really like Playbite by Preston. What's his last name? Preston Arbery?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that.
It's kind of like a meme format, but like meme format game creation.
Oh.
So it's like really easy to use on your phone, where you can like make these different games, and then like people can remix that. So very similar to like what the TikTok age is doing now. And then there's another app called Next Question by Midas Quant.
Yeah.
Next
Question.
Yeah.
What is that?
It's like a audio based question / answering platform. Well, the questions are actually asked through text, I believe, and then you respond with voice answers to them.
So it almost reminds me a little bit of. Did you ever use like FormSpring back in the day?
Yeah.
It kind of like FormSpring, but a little maybe more like mobile and audio focused.
Yeah.
I'm looking for. Is it next question on the App Store?
I don't know.
You said,
it's not out yet. It's beta. I don't even know if you're supposed to talk about it.
Maybe. I don't even remember.
We'll keep it on the DL.
Oops. I'll share the screen too, so maybe you want to blur that out.
I like
it's
this. I was looking at this this play by thing. It actually, I think it's really awesome. It reminds me a little bit of. Here's the TikTok. Actually, we can watch some of the games. It reminds me a little bit of like some of the stuff that I think works in. Oh shoot, what's it? Roblox, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like if Roblox is like. If Roblox were blogging, then this is like Twitter for game creation.
Yeah,
I think one of the cool things they've done is instead of like having all these 3D like game elements, they've just reduced it down to emojis, which is really cool.
Yeah,
it's just like it's down to simplicity.
Oh yeah,
it's a nice simplification, and it looks like they've done a pretty good job. I mean, it seems like these things work on at least their TikTok appears to work pretty well. Yeah. So is that maybe that's because they have a very visual kind of output?
Yeah.
Is that what's going on there? Do you know these people? Have you sort of talked with them about what they're doing?
Yeah. I mean, even the app, like it's like TikTok. It's really TikTok. You're just like you're scrolling through it. So I think they've built it for that medium.
Yeah.
We played with it has some brushes, some kind of analogies. Have you played with Castle.xyz?
Oh yeah, I've heard of it.
It's like somewhat games, but maybe otherwise like drawing or creative projects, but also it has kind of that like kind of quick TikTok feel to it, but it's really around these like visual elements that you're creating. But certainly some like game logic type stuff going on there. They call it create interactive cards.
Yeah.
It's amazing how the stage of the internet that we're at.
So much.
How many creative tools can be built, and what kinds of how you can take any complex process and distill it into something very simple and focused, and you sort of expand the number of people who can then create by maybe an order of magnitude or more.
Yeah.
Which just means the internet is going to create all kinds of new content and niches of interest and connections between people. Even though we're 20, 30 years into the internet, it's almost like more changing faster today than ever.
Yeah, I'm excited for this next decade.
Yeah.
Cool. I know we're over time already, so it has flown by. Kind of learning about you guys and your process, and getting to learn more about kind of the state of the world with Bounce.town. So thanks for joining us. I want to thank Vidy and Michael. Thanks for spending the time, and we hope to keep in touch and keep cheering along.
Yeah, keep jamming with us. We'll share the highlights out.
Yeah. Appreciate all this.
Cool.
Okay. I'll see you guys later.
Bye.
Share the highlights out.
Yeah. Appreciate all this.
Cool.
Okay. I'll see you guys later.